All right, this is a recording of episode 11. Hi, welcome to the show today. Today we're going to talk about what is true. What is the truth? This is a very sticky subject. So, our spouses, they are hard-working heroes who put themselves in danger at high-risk jobs every day. Death, cancer, physical and emotional risk is part of their job. It's a huge part of their job. Our job as spouses, as partners, our job is to worry and to feel anxious, to provide a safe and nurturing home for them to recover, to take care of all the home life things so there's no added stress to their already very stressful, heroic work. My question today is this true? Is that story I just told true? I really think the true answer is yes and no. It's both, the both and. In preparation for this show, I did a little statistical research to see what are the most dangerous jobs. Now, we use looking at statistics as a way to step back from the day-to-day, from our own thoughts and our feelings, to get a bigger picture of a situation. And I'm just going to make a little side note here before I go down the rabbit hole of statistics. I do want to really acknowledge and note that statistics are useful for looking at big pictures. They are not useful when you are the individual who's been affected by a statistic. You know, if the statistic's 1 in 10 and you're the one, right? Hearing a statistic is not generally helpful and feels really terrible because you're like, it doesn't matter what the experience of the other 9 is. My experience is this. So this is just, I want to acknowledge that looking at statistics, if you're in the midst of a grief process for whatever reason of whatever effects that are going on in your life, just know I also see you and hear you, and I'm thinking about you too. This is just looking at statistics so collectively we can kind of take a little bit of a step back. So, and look at a bigger picture to have this theoretical discussion here. So when I look at the raw data, deaths per 100,000, firefighting doesn't even rank in the top 15 of occupations. Things like roofers, fishers, hunters, logging, construction, they have higher death rates. Now, statistics never tell the whole story because there's lots of different ways that statistics can be calculated. Like you can look at what the exposure rate is, right? That a firefighter, when they're actually on a call, their risk rate is dramatically different than when they are, say, at the station cooking dinner. But even that, let's be honest, yes, their risk rate when they're actually on a call is probably higher than when they're cooking dinner. But we all know people do at work and at home have things happen. It happens to firefighters too. Even when they're in the kitchen cooking dinner, they could still get hurt. Perhaps as we're having this conversation, you're even noticing in your own head that there's lots of different ways to tell the story of some statistics. Volunteer firefighters, paid firefighters, urban versus rural, or there's some stations that have really high call volume and some stations that have lower call volume. This brings us back to the question, the main question here, which the main question isn't, is it dangerous or not? But the main question is, what is the truth? When we say something like, their job is dangerous and I should feel worried, like it's an absolute truth, then we are stuck in a powerless place. We all know the saying that we can get hit by a bus at any time. Yet, for most of us, we don't go around being worried about this all the time. Why? Because it's not really useful, right? It's not useful to be thinking about the possibility of being hit by a bus all the time. Anytime we say something that is truthful, that we're like, this is the way it is, this is a really good time to ask questions and to be curious. And here's the direction I would invite you to be curious, is to see, does this truth serve my life? Does this quote unquote truth serve my life? Does this way of believing or thinking or saying something is an absolute? Their job is dangerous. That is the truth. Does this serve you in your life? Let me give you a side example. The truth is, people die in car accidents every day, right? We know this is the truth. Now, how does this truth serve you in your life? Well, this can serve us because we do things like decide to put a seatbelt on, or I will put my phone away when I'm driving. I pull off the road when I'm tired, or I don't use alcohol or other drugs when I'm driving, right? Having this little bit of information that people die in car accidents every day can be useful for me to do the things that are in my charge to be preventative, right? To help me. What's not useful when I think to be thinking about people die in car accidents every day is if I never get into a car, right? If I'm so overwhelmed by this possibility that I don't get out and live my life. Or if I am in the car and I'm driving and I'm super stressed and shaky, right? Like really looking around all the time. A little bit how I feel when I'm teaching my teenagers how to drive. My alert level is up really high because there's more things going on than when I'm sitting behind the driver's wheel myself. If we're in a over alert state, we're actually not really helping ourselves. That could be more dangerous than being in a calm alert state. We want our firefighters to know about the dangers of their jobs so that they do things that you can use this truth in a useful way, so that they're motivated to train, so they evaluate the past calls that they were on, especially the ones that maybe had negative outcomes for learning strategies, or especially the ones that had positive outcomes, so they can also see how things can go well. We want them to use this thought to maintain their equipment, right? To build their skills. We want to use this thought to pause and tell our firefighters that we love them and to feel appreciation for them, to engage them in helpful questions, not interrogating questions, but helpful questions for them to process their work, to lean into the trust that they know their job is dangerous, and that's why they take lots of steps, and the science of firefighting has been developed over time to make it less and less dangerous. The way that these thoughts don't serve us is if we just give up our life to worry. If we live in grief right now for something that hasn't happened. To be closed to the thinking of all the ways that they are safe at their job. Feeling worried, feeling anxious when your firefighter is at work, when your first responder is at work, it's not unusual, right? And we want to have a lot of kindness and compassion with ourselves when we feel this way. But we don't want to see it as a truth, as an absolute, or as a must, right? Use your curiosity to see, is this serving me right now? When I'm in this place, what is the result that I'm getting in my life? And let yourself be curious about it. Is the way that I'm thinking and feeling an absolute truth, or is it something that I'm well practiced at? Is there something else that could be true? Is there some other way of thinking that I could practice? Not with force, not with making yourself wrong, but with that open curiosity. As always, be committed. Be committed to yourself and being that curious person. Be present to what actually is. Is there a danger right now? Or right now? We want to be, when we are present to what is, then we have the best chance and the best opportunity to engage with what is. If we're always being present to some unknown future, we don't get to be in our lives today. Just like driving in the car, I have a much better chance of reacting to the world around me, of all my other fellow drivers, when I'm in that calm, alert state versus in a hyper-aroused state. I want to be present. Nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. I notice a change. Now it is time to do something. Be present to your life as it is right now. Show up with curiosity and love for yourself and for your spouse. This is how we create the relationship, the life, and the mental well-being that we desire the most. If this episode was challenging for you, or when I mean challenging, that is in the way that it stirs something up in you, either defensiveness or I don't know how that could work, something along those lines. That is why I'm here to help. That's where coaching helps you. It's hard when we're in the middle of things to be able to get that 10,000 foot view. If you would like some help with this, one-on-one or in a group, I would love to work with you. Feel free to come over to the website relationships with an S on fire.com. And let's schedule a time to meet and see what would be the best way that I could serve you. Take care, my friends. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you can get every episode. And when you are ready to be in action, come find us. Facebook, Instagram, or our website. It's all the same name, relationshipsonfire.com. We've got that S on there. There's lots of us having relationships. So relationships with an S on fire.com. Thanks so much. Saying goodbye, your fire and water gal, Cori Myka. See you next time.